Hello and welcome to our third round with Abzan Company. This hand doesn't do anything. You need to draw two combo pieces to go actual infinite, but not doing anything. This hand's fine. And, non-land, so bottom it. My opponent reveals very quickly that they are on some variety of combo deck. Most likely Gift Storm. And it's, check and see if I missed anything fun in the chat besides GLHF. This hand's not the greatest against Storm, but I'll be able to interact, so it'll do. I feel kind of priced into just making my mana dorks and hoping I don't die. And my hopes come true. And especially because, like, my opponent's going to unload some cantrips next turn, I'd rather wait till after. Like, if I'm going to die on 3, I'm going to die on 3, whatever. But wait until after they've selected their hand to Scholar them seems like the best play. And I also get to make 2 plays this turn. Get myself close to the combo in 1. So I fire my Scholar into Remand. I'm priced into recasting it at this point. There's 2 gifts. This is very bad. I was hoping to take their 1 gift and leave them stranded, but with 2, there's not a lot I can do. I take Manamorphose to stem the short-term bleeding, but I'm basically dead at this point. They missed their land drop, but they're going to be able to gifts here. I debate attacking or not attacking, but if they block, I could, in theory, like, company into Fiend Hunter or something and take them off of their stuff. And they gifts, I let them resolve it. They get 4 ways to make mana, which is land, 2 rituals, and Amorphose. I give them no rituals because those add 2 mana each. And then I just kind of wish myself good luck and don't hit a Scavenging Ooze to break stuff up. Concede the game just to walk through what's going to happen. I'm a huge fan of saving time in leagues, but they've used gifts. They use that. So their hand is these 4 cards and a couple unknowns. So just this alone is land. They get to... Do I know they have a ritual? They don't have a ritual I know of. Land, 3 mana. Morphos is 4 and a storm. They can... Gifts to 2 floating doesn't help them. They don't want to cast the gifts from hand just yet. That's what it was. So they want to... Past in Flames. This is assuming nothing else. And then their graveyard is... all this nonsense. Right, because if they gifts first, they go to 2 and they only guarantee 1 mana back off of Morphos. So they have 2 mana floating, 2 storm, and they go Paretic, 4 mana floating, Desperate to 6 mana floating. They can then Morphos to 8 mana floating, effectively infinite, 6 storm. They can gifts for more rituals and a grape shot. And then flashback the gifts in their graveyard for more rituals, and then flashback their Past in Flames, and then it's just from there virtually infinite. So yeah, that's the big draw of this Storm deck is it goes really big for relatively minimal card investment, cascades out of control very quickly just because of the interaction between cost reduced, Past in Flames, and gifts ungiven. So sideboarding, I brought in 4 disruptive creatures and some Maelstrom Pulses to contain their creatures, and also as a way to play around, what's it called? Empty the Warrens, that one. So this will slow them down that way, and also their backup kill will fail. And I believe I actually brought in a Pontiff. I think I took out a Witness. I did not think Witness was very good. If you look at the cards, I don't need to cast Maelstrom Pulse twice in most games, so most of my stuff's not going to the graveyard. So I'd rather have a out to empty. And then I sideboarded out a couple nonsense creatures, cards that I'm not trying to grind out my opponent. The slower combo, this combo is just not going to get it done in this matchup. And then an Overgrown Tomb to balance the numbers for Collected Company. I don't need to hit, I cut my 5 drop, some of my 3s. I don't need to hit lands that much. And you're cutting all land. I actually, for game 2 here, I actually cut a Township instead of a Tomb. But I kind of was like thinking about it at the time, and I was like, yeah, that's not right because all these disruptive creatures, I am going to morph into more of a combat deck, and I need to be able to fight through random 2/2 Electromancers, and Township's a pretty key part of that. And it could either be a Canopy or a Tomb, but the logic on the Tomb is that's the land Eric cut anyways from the list that he played, so may as well cut that one. Though I guess Canopy's worse now that you're not rallying, so, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So welcome to game 2 of Abzan Company versus Storm. Not the greatest hand, but I think it'll do on the play. Very fortunate to have it line up against a mold of 5. There was some thought put into fetching around Blood Moon early on here. Like I could... I mean, I'm capable. So the idea is that I want to play this on 1 because I'm capable of deploying both of these and getting basics before Blood Moon hits. But like if I drew a third fetch land, then I wouldn't be able to deploy it. Here, once I hit the cord, I'm now locked into trying to get green lands with these. So I want to. I guess I could fetch like Temple Garden, but then I'm like pretty locked out if they hit Blood Moon. So I just play the basic planes to maximize the odds of like, the reason I'm talking about Blood Moon is I want my hand to be the most playable against a Blood Moon so that I'm not forced to Sculler a non-combo piece. So anyways, I fire Sculler here. Pretty clear cut here. Basically random card, redundant piece, best card in deck, immediately taking gifts. My opponent deploys Barrel of the, it's the better blocker. Also just the better one of the two. And here, I think I make a slight mistake. So that's the right land to use. I don't really care about the black source here, and this is a better land to fetch up with. I think I was supposed to play the Anafenza so that when I Finks, I have a 3 toughness creature that can attack in. Though I guess this 3 toughness creature can't really attack into Barrel Electro. And maybe Finks is just better. Also just costs less. And the reason also is that the 1 mana doesn't matter. Because, so next turn I get to cast Anafenza. And I have Finks, Anafenza, and 4 lands. So let's say I Anafenza this turn, then played Finks, that I have untapped land. Okay, no, I needed to do it this way. Okay, that's what it was. So I have 4 effective cord mana next turn, which is enough to get Viscerous here. But the problem is that if I play Anafenza this turn, then Finks next turn, I have an untapped land that presumably makes green, a green creature, and no third green source. Whereas if I play Finks this turn, and then I play Anafenza next turn, I actually have 5 up, but I have 3 green, so I can just get the combo and kill my opponent. So they slight, and then they tank on what's going on, and they don't play anything. And this just really smells like a counterspell to me. So I waited on doing anything relevant with the cord. Let's use up cord for Seer. I was thinking Dispel was the most likely counter. Though I guess Remand was a card. And again, this is a case where I don't attack because if my opponent just fires the EOT Thought Scour, then I just combo off in response. They don't. Play the Noble because it's effectively free, and I guess I could have played Township and left that up. I think that might have been better. Though I guess this way I get to attack and have triple green up, so I don't know, it's close. I wouldn't be able to attack with the Finks this turn. Yeah, just attacking with more things this turn I think adds more damage than Townshipping. They haven't done anything threatening. And worth noting now, I have the ability to chord for Canonist, which is just utterly backbreaking. So here, my opponent's priced into using their Remand. They get their Barrel trigger. And I recast the Spellskite. Now I have protection on my stuff. And then I get to attack with my 3-power creatures. They opt not to trade off any other dorks. Still waiting, no need to take action. And here they Morphos, and now it feels like, okay, well, they're going to try to combo this turn. So I may as well fire. And I opt to, instead of going for combo, I go for what I think is basically the guaranteed kill with them at 6, which is Chord for 2. You know, they Morphos in response. They brick on another counter, which is, I guess they probably just didn't have a counter that turn when they left up the mana. But I felt like I was so far ahead that I didn't need to play around anything. So I get Canonist. It's protected by Spellskite, and because my opponents cast a spell, they can't do anything this turn. So they're locked into a singular spell to get out of this, and I just don't think there's a way. So I think that's better than the combo, which is just time intensive on Moto, and it's possible my opponent goes over it or just kills all my creatures. I just didn't want to deal with that aspect of it. So at this point, they're just full on locked. You know, nice Canonist that's going to get to 4 toughness through a bolt next turn. So welcome to game 3 against Storm with Abzan Company. And this hand's fine. It's a little slow, but I have interaction in general, which is good. Using the Heath first so that the Verdant Catacombs can fetch a basic swamp so I can pulse my way out of a Blood Moon if needed. Most of the Storm decks don't necessarily have Blood Moon, but it's worth thinking about. And I'm going to go Temple Garden, basic swamp here. Because I need to get the basic swamp before my opponent hits their 3rd land. I guess it's actually kind of weird. That might have been backwards. Because if my opponent just turned 2's a Blood Moon, which I didn't really think about. I guess that's a scary play I should have played around. I should have played that first and then taken an extra 2 damage off the Temple Garden. So I Sculler, and I see their hand is rituals that are just rituals. Remand that I'll have to deal with. Gifts is their best card, and then Empty I've covered with Maelstrom Pulse. Take the gifts, which is basically just always the play. My opponent draws this, so I know their entire hand. And they opt not to go off that turn. Here I run out the Anafenza, with the logic being that my opponent's going to remand something, and I'd rather they remand that than remand the Pulse later, because they're going to have mana up. And they're successfully baited into a empty for an amount. And my Pulse is successful, I play my tap land, and now it's just a matter of not letting this die and then surviving this beatdown. So I go to 9 from the attack. They don't have anything else. Actually, I know their hand is... Actually, don't know their hand. It's a card. I play Township, and now I get to pass with Chord Canonist up. But also, really awesomely, I get to make... If they attack with their creatures, I get to block and make that a 3-3 and eat 1. So the game just basically ends on the spot then. Because my opponent can't beat a 3-3. I fire my Chord just to... get, like, you know, they're short on cards. I don't want to give them more turns to find an answer. And again, I'm just better off leaving up Township and firing Company if I need to. I fire Company. I keep the 2 pieces of the combo, play the 3rd. I could, in theory, take Seer Pontiff and then kill both my opponent's things at the cost of my creatures, but I don't really think that that's better than just full-on comboing my opponent, which is what happens, and my opponent concedes the game. Yeah, you know, we had the hate cards, we had the ways to find them. Our combo rivals theirs. I think in real life our combo is much better against theirs, actually. I don't even know if they can beat my combo in real life. Yeah, there's no way. The old list used to be able to, in theory, deck you with Thought Scours and Pyromancer Ascension, but I don't think you can do that anymore. So, yeah. I don't think the matchup's the greatest, but yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things where it's a scary deck that's losable, but you have the tools to fight, which is just something you're going to hear a lot with this deck.